when we state regarding beliefs, does this mean that discussions that are held today fall into that rubric or not? Discussions today, many of the discussions people have today do not fall under the rubric of belief. They fall under the rubric of jurisprudence. So people will discuss customs and practices, anniversaries and other things, celebrations, commemorations. These things do not fall under belief. For instance, with the raging debate on the Mawlid, if we say to any opposition, we say that it is sufficient for you to congregate and recite poetry in praise of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Is this from the Sunnah? Yes. The companions would stand on the pulpit and recite poetry in praise of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Is this done on a specific day? No. It is done throughout our lives. Did the companions seek blessings through the relics of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Yes, we know this narration from Sayyiduna Anas bin Malik, the narration from Sayyidatuna Salma, the narration from Sayyidatuna Zainab radiyallahu anhum, and other companions in Bukhari and Muslim alone, in the Sahih of Imam Bukhari alone and the Sahih of Imam Muslim. So hold congregations where you do madh, and if you consider the poetry to be an innovating poetry, which in many cases there are innovators who write poetry, then stick to the poetry of the companions. So Ibn Sayyid al-Nas rahimahullah wrote a book called Minahul Madh, a one-volume work where he compiles the poetry of over 200 companions. So hold a gathering, a congregation, recite from that poetry of the companions alayhim ridwan. And if you deem lights and flags as an innovation, do not have flags and lights. Just hold a gathering where poetry is recited and disperse. And follow the sunnah of taking tabarruk, blessings from the relics of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, do not term the gathering as Mawlid or Milad. Remove that name. Just have praise of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Do not have flags, do not have lights, do not specify one day. In effect, you are following the sunnah. But we do not see such gatherings on either side. On either side, we do not see such gatherings. When was the last time you heard of a gathering in which people who are opposed to Mawlid gatherings congregated and recited poetry of the companions alayhim ridwan in praise of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and allowed people to take blessings from the hair of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? They do not allow it. In the same way, on the opposite side, we have people who, the vast majority of them, who commit innovations. They commit innovations. This is very clear. They commit the innovation of free mixing of the genders, which is prohibited in Islam, promoted by scholars or people who claim to be leaders of the Muslim nation today. They will have our mothers, our sisters walking on the road, but their own mothers and sisters are not walking on the road with flags and candles and claiming this is Mawlid. In the same way, you will have people who claim to follow the sunnah of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will have a cake and will state silly things like happy birthday regarding the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the majority of the people who claim today to do Mawlid. This is why we see these disputes igniting amongst Muslims. But if people stuck to the sunnah, they stuck to the sunnah. How? By holding a congregation where poetry is recited in praise of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in which there are clear hadith that Sayyiduna Hassan bin Thabit and other companions alayhim ridwan sat on the pulpit and praised the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they take tabarruk from the relics of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. These actions are from the sunnah, from Bukhari and Muslim alone. And they do not specify any day of the year, meaning Mawlid can be, or not Mawlid, let's not even use the term, this type of gathering can be done in any time of the year. Would there be any dispute amongst Muslims regarding these issues? The answer is no. So these issues do not relate to usuluddin. This is why when someone recently approached me and mentioned a prominent figure, a prominent scholar, not a prominent layman, who said he is willing to debate me on the Mawlid, I said the Mawlid does not relate to issues of usuluddin, principles of religion. The Mawlid relates to fiqh. The only reason in the past I personally have shown harshness regarding this issue was because of the way the opposition had discussed the issue in our local areas. If they had remained civil, if they had remained knowledgeable, if they had used wisdom, then maybe the discussion would have been more fruitful. But in the time that we are living in, it is more important for these people to concentrate on issues relating to usuluddin, principles of religion, with those issues which are of more concern to the Muslim nation. So this book, Al-Aqeedatul Tahawiyya, is written regarding those issues.